Hey, Purple Print Goddesses. It is I, Dr. Joy, and I want to share a little bit around using the decks, the inspiration around using the decks, or any sort of divination. You may be in a space in your journey where you've been doing divination for quite some time. Maybe it's something that you fell upon and you decided you wanted to explore a little bit more. Maybe you picked up a deck just because you thought it would be nice to pick up something that, someone that you follow puts together. And I appreciate that. I really, really do. And I want you to be able to find some of the relief, understanding, clarity, and ease that I found using tools, right? So these tools were created out of me being in a space of wanting to have more clarity for myself, be able to even communicate with myself a little bit more, and not have all the thoughts, all the assumptions all over the place, but to kind of bring you in. We need a little bit of focus when we're trying to dive into our mindfulness practices or dive into what's going to be the root thought that we want to grow an entire internal dialogue from, right? And so when you're using any of the decks that we use, is something that you can really put in ritual in the way that makes the most sense for you. That could mean that you use something every day, or you use it only on special occasions. You use it when there's transition coming up in your life. You use it when you are, of course, trying to drop into your body, embody your sensuality, embody the breath that is your life force, right? And really feel that. So I want to kind of give you an example of what I mean that has nothing to do with the decks. This, by the way, is the original tarot deck written by hand. But these are 3 beads. Nothing significant. Beads that I at some point had in my locks when I had locks, right? So they're 3 different beads. And if I want to, I can make these like runes. Basically divination. And I can decide how I read them. I can decide what a yes looks like and what a no looks like if I want to ask the question yes or no, right? And so I get my answer outside of what else anyone might think, depending on what the positioning of this is, because I create a dialogue with my divination tool. We decide what the meaning is going to be. So I want you to be the same way when you get to any of the tools that you use. Now, the tarot deck, this is my baby. I had so much fun making this. The tarot deck is going to have information already on there, but depending on the question that you have, you might pull to a different type of information. The tarot deck has on here the goddess essence of the tarot deck, right? It's going to have what body center is it that you might be wanting to focus on, what body center might be impacted right now. It's going to look at your sensual wisdom, drop some knowledge there. They all have an erotic affirmation. So even if you just wanted to read the middle affirmation and have that be the message for you, you could. And there's also a practice on every single one of these cards based off of what you pulled. There's a practice to get you embodied, to get you back in your body, to get you feeling more in control of also what's happening with and without your body. Now, the way that I do my spreads is I have specific questions that I'm going to ask. And so maybe one of these things is going to answer that question that I have. And I go down the line, and maybe if I keep pulling from the deck, this will answer the question that I have, or this will answer the question that I have, right? And so we have the tarot deck where you're going to do that, but you also have your mudra cards. And the mudra cards are going to have the name for the position, the hand position, but it's also going to talk about what that actually means, right? So the names are names that are written in Sanskrit. They're Hindi names, so it may not be something that you completely understand, but you will have access to it. But what if you don't even want to look at the definition? What if you want to just look at the hand movement? What if you're someone who actually knows sign language and you know the meaning of this for ASL as well as in mudra form? Maybe you get a different understanding from that thing that you know from sign language. Maybe there's something you needed clarity around, and that was your confirmation, right? These tools are kind of confirming the things that you were already thinking about. With our oracle deck, there is no specific way to be pulling the cards. It is going to be whatever comes up for you. If you want to pick from the top of the deck, the middle of the deck, and all of our decks will have videos kind of diving deeper into ways that you can use them. But my main thing here is I want you to start your exploration from a place of no rigid expectations as to how it has to be. I might give you samples or examples of how I might use it for myself, for a retreat, for a yoga session, for a meditation session, even for therapy sessions. But you ultimately get to decide what that relationship and language is between you and your tools, right? So do not get stuck on how it is, how traditional tarot is, even though if you know traditional tarot, right, and this one is, let's say, the Ten of Swords, and you already know what the Ten of Swords is in traditional tarot, you have an additional meaning for you that you can pull from. You can pull from the picture. I made sure not to necessarily have like traditional pictures from tarot, but if you are someone who reads facial expressions or you read the eyes, you can get information from the purple print goddesses. All of the goddesses on here do have a purple print on their shirt. And so to me, I look at each of them as kind of bringing their own message to light for you. They're the one kind of channeling maybe the information that it is that you need. And the purple print is the intuitive way of living, of loving, of sensing what is healthy for us, what sort of boundaries are going to be good for us spiritually, physically, financially, all those things. And so we have in all of these decks, basically kind of channeling that part of yourself, that goddess essence of yourself that is intuitive enough to know what is best for you. We do know what is best for us. What we struggle with is all of the information and stories around us that make us doubt the way that we're thinking. There's so many forms of thought, right, that come from so many different people. But the way you think, it is the way that serves you, or that's how it kind of should be. So there are people who think a certain way and it serves them, and then it kind of gets put out there for all of us to follow suit. But that's their way of thinking, their way of processing, their way of understanding. If I'm trying to have a communication or conversation with you, right, I need to understand your language and a little bit of your perspective to be able to translate enough for us to work together on something. But when it is about you being in your space and having an understanding of you, the conversation is with you. It's with your higher powers. It's with your spirit guides, however you identify it. But do not get stuck on a specific way of confirming the things that you really want to lock in on that have been coming up for you. All the tools here are for that confirmation for you. So, be free and fierce with it, however it is that you pull, but you will get our suggestions and highlights. And I love to also see different ways that you all use it in spreads. And I'm looking forward to being able to kind of see all of us grow in more ways that we can get tapped into our purple print way. All right.